Welcome back. Today, we finish off Katherine's stuff and next, I'll be doing Christine. There's not a pattern I'm going to stick to for these videos, so I think I'm going to do Christine with Genshin first, plus Fontaine's finally getting released and I'm really excited for it. Content warning. I do mention Katherine almost dying, so trigger warning for mentions of death. Let's not waste any time and start with Katherine's vision. Katherine's small home by the sea was nice. It was a bit isolated, but she never really minded it. She had neighbors that were close enough, so she never got lonely, and she had a pretty big family. The distance from the main city was never an issue because her family owned a sled to get around. But the fateful day she left her home, Katherine was on foot. She could only run and hope that she would eventually reach a safe place. The Adventurers Guild would be a good place to seek help and shelter. The only issue was how far it was from home. Katherine felt her hands freezing and her legs giving in to her tiredness. The snow was falling so intensely that day that she was struggling to hurry. Her breathing grew heavy and she eventually fell to her knees. The more she tried to get up, the more the pain settled in. She felt tired. She felt defeated. Katherine found herself laying down in the snow to rest. It wasn't her brightest idea, but she wasn't thinking straight to begin with. Katherine could only wonder what would happen if she didn't get up. Would her family find her first? Or maybe some adventurer would? Would she have a big funeral? Would Ajax even bother to attend? She felt herself laughing at the idea. Ajax. Maybe he would curse her out for being so stupid? She used to do that to him whenever he got into fights. How the tables had turned. Katherine laid in the snow and stared up at the falling snowflakes. Would it be peaceful to leave like this? She could just close her eyes and let it all go. All that fear would be gone. Katherine felt her eyes slowly closing. Maybe it would be best. When Katherine opened her eyes, she felt warm. That was unexpected. She sat up, her eyes darting to check her surroundings. It was the Adventurers Guild. But how did she get here? Katherine heard a door open and a young woman enter. She was carrying a bundle of clothes. Katherine noticed something glowing on top of it. The woman gave Katherine a warm smile and handed her the bundle of clothes. Apparently, she and a group of adventurers had found Katherine lying in the snow and brought her to the Adventurers Guild. The woman remarked that Katherine was lucky to have lived. If they had found her any later, Katherine may have succumbed to the frostbite. Katherine thanked the woman as she grabbed the bundle of clothes. She stared at the glowing object on top. It was a vision. A cryo-vision. Katherine turned her head to the woman, asking her about the vision. The woman only smiled and said, "That's yours, dear. It seems the Tsaritsa has smiled upon you and granted you a vision." Katherine stared at the vision, her eyes wide. Hers? It felt ironic. She had just been trying to run away from the Tsaritsa's rule, but yet she was still gifted a vision. How bizarre. To this day, Katherine still wonders about her vision. Sometimes she feels as if the vision was given to her as a subtle way to tell her that no matter where she ran, the Tsaritsa would know. Katherine and Bennett were both raised by the same childless adventurers. Katherine sees Bennett as her younger brother, which he technically is. She often accompanies him on his adventures. She is a proud honorary member of Benny's adventure team. As an honorary member, Katherine has had the pleasure of meeting Bennett's other companions. These include Fiscal, Razor, and Barbara. Fiscal is quite eccentric, but Katherine enjoys her flamboyant personality. Her imagination is something Katherine admires a lot. She also thinks Oz is quite cute. The two of them remind her of her older brother and herself when they were younger. Razor doesn't talk much, but it's okay with Katherine. At first, she thought he might not enjoy her presence, but they opened up to one another. She often brings Razor some homemade treats that her mom used to make. Barbara is very kind. Katherine often makes small talk with her while she patches up Bennett. Katherine often attends church gatherings and praises Barbara for her beautiful voice. She also helps keep a certain man away from Barbara. Katherine doesn't find herself interacting with many members of the Knights of Favonius. She hasn't been in any trouble with them or had a reason to meet them. It was funny that her first interaction with a member of the Knights of Favonius was at Angel's Share. Katherine finds Kaya, the Knights' cavalry captain, to be quite the drinking buddy. She isn't much a drinker herself, but she likes spending time with Kaya. She thinks he's a good listener and can be quite funny, especially when he interacts with a certain red-headed bartender. Their banter makes her chuckle. At Angel's Share, Katherine also found a drinking buddy in Venti the Bard. His fun nature and love for playing the lyre makes him a lot of fun to hang out with. Sometimes she dances to his fun tunes, but only when she's a bit tipsy. It wasn't just at the Angels' Share that Katherine had an interaction with a member of the Knights. She ended up bumping into the young spark knight, Clay, while out in the wilderness with Razor. Clay's bubbly personality matched Katherine's energy well, so she finds time to hang out with Clay. Katherine usually ends up visiting Clay in solitary confinement after she bombs something again. She brings snacks to cheer Clay up. Being acquainted with Clay also meant Katherine met Clay's older brother, Albedo. Katherine sometimes finds it difficult to speak with Albedo. It wasn't because he's rude or anything. She's heard that he is regarded as a genius, so she hopes she doesn't open her mouth and say something stupid. At one point, Katherine brought up her background in ice skating. Since she knew so much about it, she thought she couldn't say anything wrong about it, at least she hoped. The conversation ended with Katherine promising to do a few ice skating poses for Albedo whenever he needed a model. Now, Katherine may have left her life in Snezhna behind, but at times, she wonders if she should contact Ajax. Would it be too out of the blue? They weren't exactly as close as they used to be. And Katherine was still terrified of his whole association with the Harbingers. Katherine can only hope one day she can gather the courage to contact him again.